It started with Eve, of course. On the day she came to Spillin, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were out the back of the town burying the sister of my best friend, Stick. The parson was going on and on, like he always did. He was saying how noble Angie was, and how we'd always keep her in our memories, and how sweet and fitting it was to die for your town. I was standing next to him with a shovel, thinking how sweet and fitting it would be to wham him in the head with it. I hated the way he always tried to dress things up like that. Angie hadn't been a hero. She hadn't chosen to sacrifice herself. She would have died scared. Maybe she'd tried to fight or bargain or switch to exile at the last minute. People did all kinds of things, but none of them looked like what the parson was talking about. Stick was on the other side of the grave with his hands in his pockets. He'd never been very close to his sister. She'd moved out of home when he was just a kid. But she had been the last of his living relatives. When the wake was over and he went back home to sleep above the machine shop, he'd be there by himself, and he'd know that he was the last of his line. I knew what that felt like too. Plex, the third of our trio, was standing next to him, holding the other shovel. He caught my eye and made a mock pious face. Flex would never be bothered by thoughts like that. He'd just go on being Flex. The parson finished his fancy speech and turned to Stick. "Callan, would you like to say a few words?" Stick kept looking down. "Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. I'm sure she would have liked you all being here. Yeah, that's all." "Thank you, Callan," said the parson. "These are hard situations. Sometimes it can take us a little while to express our grief." He turned and waved his hand at the old bluestone chapel that stood at the top of the cemetery. A second later, the tower bell began sending its tolls out into the motionless air. All the people started going past and shaking Stick's hand and patting him on the back. Meanwhile, Flex and I started filling in the hole. Flex was making a mess of it, chucking in big spadefuls, which was bad because it was likely to mess up the blanket and drag it off Angie's face. But I couldn't tell him that with everybody there, so I just said, "You do that end, brother," and got him to concentrate on her feet. We had just about got her covered when the siren went off, and everybody who was still hanging around went running. Not the three of us, though. I looked over at Stick. "Unbelievable," I said. "He picks this moment to run a drill." "Probably making a point," said Stick. "Probably. Why don't you stay here? I can cover for you with Stricton." "Nah, it's okay," he said. "I'll come. We can finish later." We put down our shovels and started down the hill toward the red earth rampart that lay beyond the silos. But just as Flex branched off to his post, one of the little kids that the mayor used for his runners came charging up from across the tracks. "Boss says he needs you in the south redout, Chris. You two Stick. He said to say it's not a drill. There's something really bad coming. He said it's Savs." Then Stick swore, and we both started racing toward the wall.